Welcome back to The Real with Joseph Lapman. I am Joseph Lapman. Hope you guys are having a fine Saturday today. Breaking news episode today. The Browns acquired Jerry Jeudy from the Denver Broncos. We're going to get into in a second. But before we get to that, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Hit the subscribe button for your boy. How many times I got to ask you? Just hit the subscribe button. It's free. Helps out my content, my channel to grow. Hit that like button for me on the way in here and leave your comment below what you think about the trade. So the Browns acquired Jerry Jeudy, but before we get into that, I wanted to shout something out today. I got my Hoban Knights. Shout out to the Hoban Knights. My sister goes to school, so I root for the team. But today I watched Hoban's basketball game. Great basketball game. District final versus Brecksville. Broadview Heights, who's another great school. Great player, number 3. Shout out to them. But I had to share this with you guys. In case you haven't seen today, something crazy I saw today. After I heard the Jerry Jeudy trade, I'm watching this game. I'm rooting for the Knights. It's a great game. It's back and forth. Look at how this game ended today, right here. Actually, misses the shot. Game winner for the Knights today. Let me play that again with the audio. Look how this game ended today. I'll put it full screen for everybody. Okay, that's me. Let's try it. Now, there we go. So yeah, here's look at the end of this game. I thought this was pretty cool. Some of you guys might be interested in seeing this. Yeah. So shout out to the Knights. I had to show that real quick. I thought that was pretty cool seeing that today. Incredible shot by the young fella. Shout out to him and to the team. Moving on now to the regionals. So, but yeah, I had to share that real quick. But on to the big news today with Cleveland Browns acquiring Jerry Jeudy from the Denver Broncos, only for a 5th and a 6th round pick. AB does it again. Goes in, gets he acquired Amari Cooper, number 1 receiver, for a 5th round pick. Now he gets Jerry Jeudy today, a 24-year-old rookie receiver, not rookie, 24-year-old receiver with a lot of upside. He has had a kind of up and down career, but anybody who's watched Jerry Jeudy back in college knows the talent. He was his incredible yak in college, pretty good yak now in the NFL. But the upside is tremendous still, I think, with Jerry Jeudy. I think in a fresh situation with a better quarterback play and with Amari Cooper, a fellow Bama alum, as a mentor, I think we can get the best out of Jerry Jeudy and really get that potential that people thought he would be. Get that potential number 1 receiver that people thought he would be. And so I'm excited about it. I think an A+ trade for Andrew Berry, and you really gave up nothing. It's low risk, high reward type of thing. So joining me now, though, is the man, the myth, the legend himself.
Lumberjack Mike. Look at that.
Lumberjack Mike.
Yes, got a very full beard going on. What is up, my friend? What is up, beautiful people? How are you doing?
Mike, we got Jerry Jeudy.
We did. It's funny that it happens now. I mean, this discourse, I feel like, has been going on for 2 years about trying to trade for Jerry Jeudy. And now we get him, when the Broncos are, setting fire to their team and just calling it a day. They've released just about everybody. They cut Russell Wilson. They cut arguably, I think, their best player, and Justin Simmons, all-pro safety. And now Jerry Jeudy. And, Cortland Sutton's probably next, unfortunately. But
yeah, I think Denver, I know like Matt McChesney, shout out to Matt, covers the Broncos out there, Denver legend, the man out there. He thinks too a lot of what they're doing is rolling probably with Simeon next year. Who's the Jarrett Stidham?
Jarrett Stidham.
They're going to roll with him next year, be bad, and probably get Shedeur Sanders next year's draft. That's who they like.
I actually
That makes sense too, because he's in the backyard. There's a relationship there with the Sanders and Champagne. But anyway, that's a whole nother thing. But I believe that. I do think they're eyeing
Yeah.
Shador next year.
See,
Which I
heard that.
kind of like that.
I heard reversely that Sean Payton really, really likes JJ McCarthy. So I've heard that. I mean, I think it was from a Broncos reporter that actually reported that. It might have even been Matt Machesi. I'm not entirely sure, but
Well, I know he thinks he thinks next year they're rolling with Stidham.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be Shador Sanders, which
I think Shador Sanders is a far better prospect than JJ McCarthy.
Oh yeah,
So,
I think Shador. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But what made a lot of sense though too, Mike, was the Cleveland Browns acquiring Jerry Jeudy. What was your reaction to the trade when you initially saw it?
Oh, I was super excited. I was just we had been talking that we really need kind of a wide receiver, bigger guy who's a 50-50 ball guy who has some speed, kind of just like what Will Fuller was, what Deshaun has had in the past with even in college with Mike Williams. And Jerry Jeudy really does give you that. He's got pretty good ball skills. He's had some issues with drops, but he really worked on that last year. When he finished with, I think, about 800 yards and about 4 touchdowns. Yeah. So I really like how he worked on his game there. Like, excellent route runner, super fast, physical guy. And I've heard a lot of people today on the negative side of it say, oh, we could have got the Puka Nacua in the 5th and 6th round. And it's like, well, we could still draft
very
him.
Rare.
Extraordinarily rare. One, hit rates on 5th and 6th round picks is less than winning the lottery. And not just that, but like we still have a 5th and 6th round pick.
Right. Well, and I think too, the Rams have an established system.
Yeah.
And they have a quarterback in Matt Stafford, who's probably a future Hall of Famer. And so that you can do that. But I think in the Brown situation, you're trying to get Deshaun back to play and finally get that full season under his belt, and you implemented a new kind of offense in a way.
Yeah.
It's better. Jerry Jeudy, yes, he hasn't hit the upside yet, or he hasn't had the career people
maybe. But also look at who he's played with too.
But he's also 24, but he's been in the league for 4 years now, so he knows what it's like. Yeah, that does mean something. You know what I mean? It's not like he knows it's an easier. It's an easier transition. The situation matters. I think if the Browns can establish themselves this year with the quarterback and the system, then down the road, those 5th and 6th round kind of Puka Nacua guys could happen because you're more set up for them to succeed. I think people need to remember when it comes to the draft, situation and where these guys land matters.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, it's bigger than you can be the most talented guy in the world. If you go to the wrong organization, like Tim Couch, very talented guy. He was just put in a horrible situation. And in his career, same thing in the NBA. Kwame Brown, same thing. Michael Jordan didn't want him.
Kwame Brown.
My man, they didn't want him. And
the Kwame Brown
situation. You know what I mean? But situations matter. You know what I mean? And Ian Kwame's explained that. Obviously, everybody.
He's got a great podcast now.
Oh yeah, he was. I put on this show how he's helped me in a lot of ways, but yeah, I think situation. But I think the Browns, it was smart for them to go out and get a guy. You still want the younger age with the upside, obviously, because the other options out there, Mike Williams coming off an coming off an
ACL injury, and then you had Michael Pittman. But I think they picked up, or if they franchise tagged him, so that was
Mike Evans.
You could trade for him.
Signed.
He re-signed. Bengals are not going to be trading T to a division opponent, obviously. There weren't a whole hell of a lot of options out there. So I think getting Jerry Jeudy for a 5th and a 6th is fantastic. Now you have your perfect 1-2-3 punch. 1-2-3-4 punch, really, with David Njoku out there. If you got to go out of 11 personnel, you should feel pretty good. And I looked at today at Jerry Jeudy's quarterback set he's had to play with, and I'd say even the Browns' backups would be better than some of these guys that he's played with. Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater. I'm pretty sure year 1 he played with Paxton Lynch. Now there's a name I know that everybody hasn't heard in a long time. And then obviously Russell Wilson and Jared Stidham. So he hasn't really played in a system that helped his production, he hasn't really played
He doesn't
with.
have that consistency.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And
So
that's my whole point. Like, and I
yeah,
think compared to their other options, like with Hollywood Brown, I think you watch Hollywood and you watch Jerry Jeudy, you know the kind what he can be. He's a more all around receiver than Hollywood Brown's just a one guy. He's a fly
yeah,
route guy, speed, which is fine. I think he's a really good. I think he can be a good player. But I think Jerry Jeudy gives you more. There's more. He's more versatile. The size. He's a better route runner. Creates more because he can run more routes. He's just
yeah,
there's more you can do with him. That I don't want a one gadget guy. I don't need a guy that can just all he does is run fly routes. Like we need guys that can do multiple things. We
right,
haven't had that. We just had gadget guys
right. No, I agree completely.
outside of
Now,
Amari, and we don't know what Elijah's still improving. We don't know. So, you know,
yeah, and
and Gabe Davis is a nice receiver, but I don't know if Gabe Davis has the higher. I like Gabe Davis. I don't know if he has the higher upside though than Jerry Jeudy. I don't think he does.
um, yeah, I don't think so, honestly.
No, I don't either.
And with with the Browns, with Elijah Moore's situation, I think they were misusing him the first half of the season, and then he really came on and came into his own the last 8 games. He put up
Yeah.
I think 400 plus yards just 8 games, and next year if even he exceeds that to get 800 as like the designated slot receiver, which I really think Elijah Moore is now going to be. I think that's perfect. I don't think, and this gives the Browns a ton of options as well, because now, you're going into the last year of Elijah's contract. Jerry Jeudy, this is his 5th year that he's going into. So you're going to have a ton of options after you see what this offense looks like. I do still think the Browns maybe take a wide receiver in this draft to kind of like fill that spot of the slot guy if they don't feel like they're going to pay everybody.
Well,
So
it gives you more flexibility now in the draft.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. Now you can
Because
maybe
now you're sitting there at 54. If there's a left tackle we really like that we think, gee, this guy, I can't believe he fell this far. You can take him now. You don't have to just key in on one. Because here's the big ticket, which we'll get into. Now, if you get Christian Wilkins, who's on the market, who they've been linked to. Sheesh. I mean,
that would be, that'd be insane.
But real quick though, what do you think? And I'm gonna put the highlights on the screen. What do you think we're getting with Jerry Jeudy?
Well, like I said earlier, somebody who can make contested catches, who's not afraid to play big. Somebody who's a speedy wide receiver, great yards after the catch, kind of like a absolute just prototype for this new Ken Dorsey offense. Not only that, but he's used to playing with scrambling quarterbacks. I mean, hits him in stride. And he's a big man, Jerry Jeudy, and he plays big, not injury prone, which is nice. He can line up at Y or X. Oh, I love that catch. Hard to bring down. Like I said, big man plays big. And that's kind of what the Browns have been missing, is a guy like that.
And the yak, too. He's really good with the yak.
And, I love Coop. Coop's great. He's the best route runner in the NFL, in my opinion. And for the past 2 years, every time I bring this up, everybody like scoffs and is like, well, this, that, and the other. Amari Cooper has led the AFC North in yards the past 2 years. That division, these receivers, there's so many receivers you can name, and Amari Cooper's led them all in yards. So now we have an option that, God forbid something happens, Amari gets a little banged up. We all know Amari's going to go out there, even if he's banged up, but he's not going to play like regular Amari. This gives us options as far as like having more size out there. You can go jumbo goal line packages. 2 tight end sets don't look so like horrible now. I mean, it just opens so many things for the Browns. This is really a really good pickup, and people, and Andrew Berry is just continues to be a felon when it comes to this. This is grand larceny.
Well, not only that, too. I mean, we talk about the yak with him, and he was like that in college. You got David Njoku, who's one of the better guys in the entire league now, and opposite of
He's the
him.
best yak tight end for sure.
Yeah, so you got Njoku now with him. It's going to make things easier for Amari and Elijah and Deshaun, and it also could. It just helps out even your guy Nick Chubb coming back. You know what I mean? You got Nick Chubb coming off this injury. It could help him ease back in if they can orchestrate this offense to what it should be, what we expect this newer offense to look like. Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of problems they can give a defense. And he's a deep ball guy too that they haven't had. They haven't had that kind of guy you can send in the longer routes like that. You know what I mean? The deeper routes down the field, the defense have to worry about. And like I said, it's going to open things up more for the intermediate guys like Elijah and even Amari, who can run a lot of different routes. So,
Right.
It just gives them a whole different element to the offense they haven't had.
Oh, I agree. I mean, and with David Njoku really just coming into his own last year, and you're going to instill a new kind of offensive mindset. It's just super exciting for where the Browns are at. And kind of like me and Joseph folks were talking on the phone, and the Browns really don't have a ton of holes. I mean, even if let's say we sign Christian Wilkins or trade for a Jonathan Allen or somebody like that, at that point, the Browns would be the most complete team, in my opinion, in the NFL. Maybe you need a running back too, a better one than Jerome Ford. Maybe we pick up somebody like that, but the running back market's crazy right now with all the guys that are out there. So, in my opinion, if one small or one big kind of swing in free agency for a defensive piece, would you agree that would kind of make us the most complete team in the NFL, if not at least one of the most complete?
I think from a talent perspective, yes, but I don't want to say most complete because I think it still has to be proven. I mean, Jerry Jeudy. There's a reason why we're still saying they still need to add another receiver in the room because I like him a lot. I think he'll be better here. I think he'll probably pan out the player.
My cat's putting her 2 cents.
Yeah, the cat is loving this trade, but I think we're still too like Deshaun Watson even still has to show that he's that guy this year. He's got to show it. We don't know what Nick Chubb's going to be like. I just think there's a lot of unknown yet. But I think on paper, from a talent perspective, we're up there for sure. I get what you're saying. But I think it's would I say they're better than the Chiefs or the Ravens or even the 49ers and all that? Or are they on their level yet? I still wouldn't say it because you got to prove it. And so that's what the NFL is. You got to go out and prove it. So it is what it is. It's the business. So, right. But I agree. I think from a talent perspective, yeah. I think as you look at that roster, you're kind of like, okay, they got talent, they got guys now. They can just put it all together. But that's always been the thing, is putting it all together. And so
Andrew Berry trades always work out, in my opinion. So I like it just from a luck standpoint because the only reason I want
to the Amari one. It's a very similar to the Amari one. Got him for a fifth.
And then the Elijah Moore was just a 3rd-round pick swap. Essentially, we moved back and we got him. I think it's great because it's obvious. I still think they take a receiver in the draft, just like you, because it's not that I don't love the starting 3. I really do, actually. I don't love our depth. David Bell, he's had flashes, but it's just not working. Cedric Tillman, the Browns are in win now mode, and they thought he would be an immediate kind of fit. Maybe he works out eventually. Who knows?
Which is why I like this move because you can't keep.
You can develop Ced in the meantime.
Yeah, unless you have a 1st-round pick, it's hard to bank on any rookie to come in, and really even 1st round. It's hard to put all that on a rookie to come save us in this. You know what I mean? It's very it's not even Jordan Addison last year, how great he was. Guess who had opposite of him?
JJ14.
Yeah, and Jamar Chase had connection with Joe Burrow in college. That helped. And then the expectations were low.
And T. Higgins is another wide receiver 1. And Tyler Boyd's probably one of the best.
So all these young receivers that are coming in the league, they're all in ideal even like we said earlier, Puka Nacua. The Browns are in a circumstance. I don't think they're set up yet for that. So going back to my original point, I think it's good for them to get a guy that has experience in the NFL, but still has he's almost kind of like a rookie now in a way. It has that feel in terms of he's not a rookie, but it's a fresh start that you think gee, if this guy really pops, I mean, it could pop. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he can be that guy we've been looking for that everybody wants. And so I agree with you. I think when you look at that receiver room now, too, I think David Bell's probably, and I like David. He's a nice guy from Warren Central
Yeah,
High
I like
School,
David. I don't got
Far
nothing.
East Side. Shout out to them. Big Smitty. But, it's probably going to be the end of that road. He probably needs a fresh start for himself as well. Plus, I think the offense, David doesn't have the speed. He's really good in the slot, I think, finding soft spots.
Mhm.
But we don't really know. We just, like you said, we don't know what we haven't seen it enough. He's shown. It's just you can't bank on him. And so
Right.
I still like Tillman. I think Tillman's got a lot of upside. I think last year was tough for him. People forget the year before that in college, he didn't really play a whole lot. He was injured. So his
Yeah.
first year off an injury is his rookie year in the NFL in a situation where he had 4 different quarterbacks last year as a rookie.
Yep.
That's not ideal. So we don't really know what Tillman is either. So, but we can't bet on that. So,
Right.
like I said,
Exactly.
one thing you have for sure, you have Amari and you have David Njoku, who are 2 phenomenal weapons. I think you know what Elijah Moore is. You have a better feel for him now. I think you still think there's upside there. I think Jerry Jeudy's kind of the same thing. You got a new offense here. He needs a fresh start. But like I said, I agree with you. Still draft a receiver. I think a guy now. What kind of receiver are they looking for now? Are you probably looking for a guy, maybe another slot guy? Or are you looking for?
It
Best
really,
I mean,
it really depends, right? I think it might be a mixture of both because
Right.
it really depends because they are going to either keep after this season, in my opinion, Elijah Moore or Jerry Jeudy. It really, really depends on production, who they like, locker room. It's gonna really depend on a lot. So,
Right.
it it depends on like I know they've been wanting Jerry Jeudy for a long time. They tried to trade for him last year and the year previous, and it only worked out this year. So I
They tried to
think
get him at the deadline too, and it didn't work out.
right. So
Yeah.
I think maybe Jerry is like has a little bit of an edge to get extended quicker. Just because, age wise, production, like, I mean, he had 800 yards last year, which if you're going to be using him as your wide receiver too, and David Njoku's putting up nearly 1,000 yards, plus you got Amari putting up well over like 1,200 yards every season, and then the running game.
Yeah.
If Jerry Jeudy gives us 800 yards this year and I don't know 4 or 5 touchdowns, that's an absolute dub. That's a great trade. It was worth every penny, and then you can pay him 18 mil a year and call it a day. But
I think it's more likely Jerry Jeudy ends up being the wide receiver too than Elijah Moore.
oh, I agree with that. Elijah Moore's going to be the
In that
slot guy,
case,
but it really depends on who falls to him, right? Like there's a couple
right.
guys who have moved up my draft board considerably, which we should totally do a mock draft shortly after
Right.
maybe.
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
But a few guys, like if we stay at 54 and we don't move back, which is a big if at this point, like it really depends on everything. Like, Andrew Berry, but if we stay at 54 and a guy like Keon Coleman drops because he's struggled with speed, I could see them maybe taking a swing on him.
And has a lot of there's people I know that I trust, like Zach Smith, one of them, who knows wide receiver well. He coached in college, but I mean, I think there's people they have. Believe Keon Coleman is the 3rd best receiver in the draft. They still think he may not have that speed you want to see.
Yeah,
but man, he's got some other things that are really like hard to teach, and he's a great ball catcher, locating the ball. He's tough. I mean, look how big he is. So I agree with you. I think that would be a big option because you could turn him into that's another weapon for you.
mm-hmm.
But even if you wait in the later rounds, you got guys maybe Jacob Cohen, who we talked about in later rounds, or what if Xavier Worthy fell?
I love Xavier Worthy. I don't think he's going to, but I love.
You never know. You know what I mean? Wacky things happen, or if you can trade up a little bit, maybe you have to give up another pick to get. You know what I mean? Like they have options now. But also, too, even if you're sitting there, you stay at 54. Like I said earlier, if you got a left tackle that falls now, maybe if you don't want to pay Jed, you can develop this guy for a year. And now you got to.
I don't think they're going to pay Jed.
A lot of people think Greg Newsom's probably getting traded out the door. I think.
I think we can get a
for him. I like the kid out of Michigan, Sandra. Still, I would draft him. I think he would be perfect in the system with the slot. I mean, you still got Cam Mitchell too, but
we're probably going to get at least a second for Greg, and that's just because there's a lot. This is a very weak corner class, very weak corner draft class.
Yeah, there
I only have
in free agency too. It's not great either.
No, I mean you got Tre'Davious White, who used to be great, but like he's had 2 back-to-back horrible knee injuries, which is a shame because he was going to be fantastic. You have Patrick Peterson, who played okay, but he's older. I think you have a Mike Hilton, who's just a designated like slot weapon. He's one of the best slot corners ever.
Well, the guy from the Chiefs, who's the Chiefs' best corner, I can't remember think of his name right now.
L'Jarius Sneed, but you're gonna have to trade for
him. Yeah, well, no, they got the one guy available too. I think the Lions were interested in him, but because the Lions have been linked to the Browns as well.
Yeah,
but
like you have the Niners needing a corner, you have the Lions who are a corner. Like there are a lot of teams who would be willing to trade.
I think Arizona could be another option as well.
Could be.
They have a lot of picks,
right? But like I only have maybe 2 first-round talent at corner. Like Quinyon Mitchell is probably my number 1 corner in the draft, and then Kool-Aid McKinstry, and then third is Cooper DeJean, and then after that. I don't think there's a starting corner.
Yeah. The only guy, like I said, I like Sanchez still from Michigan. I like the intangibles he showed, and he's tough, and he plays the slot really well. And he was a big part of their national championship team, obviously. So, I like him for the Browns to replace Greg, really. But yeah, no, they got options. Even if there's a great if Michael Hall falls 54, and you like Mike Hall, take Mike Hall. I mean, you have options now.
I didn't love his combine, but I like his intangibles.
Oh, I'm big on Mike. Shout out to 330 Mike Hall. You know what I'm saying? But Mike's gonna be great. But and his name's Mike. What are you doing? I mean,
so why am I not sticking with him?
From the 330 went to Streetsboro. You got to root for this guy, Mike. Come on.
Oh, I mean, I love rooting for local guys.
Our boy Dante. I remember our boy. Shout out to Craftomatic. That's Dante's boy. But yeah, they got options, which I like. But again, you look at this team now. We'll move on now to, where do they go now in free agency? What do you think? You think they go big run out to Christian Wilkins? I mean, I think you have to.
There's a couple different routes they can go. Obviously, I think the Commanders are selling. I think the Broncos are still selling, but they're kind of like. There's not a lot there to trade for. So they're definitely Andrew Berry. I was listening to a podcast of Jack Duffin, who works for the OBR. He's a British man who's a Browns fan, and he's the best cap analyst probably out there. So if you want to know anything about the NFL salary cap, check him out. Shout out Jack Duffin. We love you. You crazy bastard across the pond. But anyway, he was saying that he knows that how Andrew Berry works. Andrew Berry has a whole division that calls every single team in the NFL asking about players and what it would take to stay ahead of the curve with information, which I think is crazy. So out of teams that are selling, and that are realistic to get, I think we could get Jonathan Allen for maybe a 3rd-round pick. If you don't get Christian Wilkins, because after Justin Madubuike, the only thing I could see stopping the Browns from signing Christian Wilkins is that 22 to 24 million number went up to like 26, 27 because of that Justin Madubuike contract, because he signed it. And it was huge, huge. So that is the only holdup I could see. And Jonathan Allen's already under contract, and he's under contract for an additional 3 years, and it's less expensive, and he has very similar production to Christian Wilkins. Not as effective in the run game, but more effective in pass rush capability. So if it's not Christian Wilkins, I could see them making a trade like that for Jonathan Allen, who I think would be an excellent piece in addition. But I do think they're going to make a run at defensive tackle. I do think we're going to try and retain some guys. Sione Takitaki and Maurice Hurst, I know for sure, have mutual interest in returning, which is great. Tak is, a fan favorite for me. And I think Maurice Hurst had himself a rejuvenation after dealing with so many injuries before he had another one with us. He was having a great season. I think he could be just the great sixth man on that defensive tackle rotation. But in free agency, I think if they make a big splash, it's going to be at defensive tackle or, believe it or not, linebacker, or even possibly safety. We need a third safety. Every team is cutting their star safety. I mean, if you just look at the list of guys that are available, it's it's like the running back of the defense. Like, people just think they don't matter right now for some reason. Kevin Byard. I mean, he's a free agent right now, unrestricted free agent. Jordan Poyer just got cut. Eddie Jackson just got cut. I mean, Justin Simmons. These are all Jordan Poyer and Justin Simmons are all pro talent players. Kevin Byard was an all pro talent player, and they're just floating out there. And you could probably get him on the cheap. So if the Browns want to sign a guy for a 2-year for that third safety spot and just become super deep there, because Juan Thornhill has dealt with that injury, that nagging calf injury, if they're just a little unsure and they want somebody who can maybe play the slot as well, I'd look at Jordan Poyer. I don't know if they will, but I mean, I'd at least make the call with the names that are out there. But really, I think it's going to go defensive tackle, number one. Number two for me,
that has to be top priorities, D tackle, because
absolutely
teams are going to start picking up on what they're doing. I think if you have that guy up the middle that can generate that pass rush like that, from a schematic standpoint, it makes it. You have to add. You always have to stay ahead of the change. You can't stay stuck where you can't just say, well, this is good enough last year. You always got to keep evolving and get better. I think they need that pass rush up that middle like that.
Yeah, the biggest issue with the Browns defense last year is when Myles Garrett was getting double teamed or double teamed and chipped all on the same play. And other guys weren't winning their one-on-ones. The defense, that was the small chink in their armor. That front four and the only four need to win their one-on-ones, because you're going to get some when you have Myles Garrett on your defense. Everybody else is going to be a one-on-one. You need a guy who can win on one-on-one. Christian Wilkins can definitely do that. Jonathan Allen can definitely do that.
Well, not only that, can we clear the air real quick too on the cap thing? I know a lot of people are panicking about the cap and the money.
Not real, guys. Not real.
This is from a former NFL player, Matt McChesney, who knows the NFL better than probably anybody watching right now, knows the business. He said this week on shout out to Coach JB. JB, you're awesome. Love your show, brother, and Darnell and everybody. But he said this week on the show about the cap.
Like Derrick Henry. And the money situation is a thing with a lot of these teams, but the cap just jumped $30 million. The economics in the NFL are fine. Again, if you want to sign somebody, you can find ways to manipulate the salary cap. All you mental cripples over here that seem to think that you can't sign people, you can find ways to manipulate the salary cap these days and pay people up front and incentive base it, especially when you're looking at a team that is primed to make another run. I guarantee.
Yeah, I love the Callahan Auto Parts shirt too that bro on the left was wearing.
That's JB. Shout out to Coach JB.
Yeah, I love the Callahan Auto Parts shirt, JB. But yeah, I mean, the salary cap's just not real. Especially when you have. I mean, it's real, but if you have a GM that has a above average IQ, they can figure out a way to manipulate it. And luckily,
the cap's always been the manipulator. Look at the Rams.
Yeah.
I mean, they gave away half their franchise, and pretty much all their franchise. They gave it away, and they're still they found a way, because you can manipulate shit, and you can, you can,
or even like the Eagles to like another extent, and like Andrew Berry has that Howie Roseman kind of like mentality where it's like, I'm just gonna be aggressive as possible, and like I'll figure the money out,
right.
So yeah, the Browns will make splashes in free agency. I think we'll sign maybe 2 to 3 guys. For me, it's going to go defensive tackle 1, 2 is probably a running back, and 3 is probably linebacker. That could just be re-signing, but there are also some names out there that could be interesting. And then if maybe linebacker, you can switch that out with safety, just because the market out there is so nuts right now.
I would probably go D tackle, receiver. I think you still need another receiver.
I don't think it's a free agency pickup at this point, though. We're not going to be.
I'm thinking overall. I'm just thinking overall.
Oh, yeah.
I should have clarified. Draft and free agency. I'm thinking D tackle, receiver, running back, and then probably lineman. I think you always got to stock up on O lineman. I think Roger Rojagard would be a nice name. Who Matt McChesney trains. I think Roger would be a nice pick.
He's a dog, dude. I love Roger Rosagard.
He's got a lot of potential, a lot of talent, a lot of athleticism. He's got great. He's really good. So I think he'd be. I know that Brown's interested in him. I like that. I think that, and then probably linebacker after that. But I think linebackers are going to be fine. I think you got JOK now, who looks like the part now, and he looks like he is an all-pro. He is that dude. I think Taki knows his role. Taki's turned into a really good player.
I love guy.
Talk's great against the run. I like Taki a lot. I think they'll be fine there. I wouldn't be surprised. I know you don't think it'll happen. I wouldn't be surprised if AWOC was back for one more year. I don't know why. I just believe. I don't know why. I just have a hunch, which I'm not mad at. I think you can.
They love him in the locker room.
I think too. You got to look at where he's at in his career, his age, the injuries. I think coming off that injury, probably makes more sense. Like same thing with Shelby Harris. It makes more sense for some of these older guys to actually not leave. Sometimes it's better for them just to stay because they want to get a ring. A lot of them, you know what I mean? They made money. You know what I mean? It's better for them probably to stay put in the system they like. They know they have chemistry. So I think we'll see some of those guys back. But it's gonna be interesting, man. I think free agency. I agree. I think Christian Wilkins probably has to be priority number one. That D line, getting that D line short, especially in the interior, getting pass rush. So I think that's probably the top priority.
Yeah, no, I agree.
We'll do a mock draft. Should we do a mock draft real quick then?
Let's do a mock. Let's end the show on a mock.
I think too. Who are some guys? As I get this ready, Mike. Who are some guys? I know, like for instance, for running back, I like Audric Estime a lot.
I took the words right out of my mouth.
I told you about Audric back, and we played him. Ohio State played. What I tell you about?
I know. You know me. I watch the tape. I watch the combines, and then I make my choices. How many? I got so many dudes right last year in that draft. I called so many picks for the Browns, and I'm gonna do it again, maybe, unless we move back or move forward, because I don't know.
Yeah. Let me find. Who are some? Well, as I pulled this up, you want to take over. What are some prospects you got your eye on in the other positions you think they are likely that the Browns could obtain in the draft?
All right, yeah, I can do that easy. So at wide receiver, at 54, guys that may be available that could fall. Keon Coleman is a hot name to watch. He was a first-round expected talent, but he's fallen a lot on a lot of people's draft boards just because of the combine speed really wasn't there. So he could potentially drop. Not saying he will, but it's a possibility. Another guy who could be there is Xavier Worthy, but he just blew up at the combine, so he's been actually the opposite, rising up the ranks. But luckily, that leaves a guy like Keon Coleman to maybe fall down the boards a little bit, as well as a guy like Ladd McConkey, who had a fantastic Senior Bowl, and he had a pretty good combine, but there are other guys that teams probably in the first, early second round will want to take a little bit more just because of the intangibles part. Ladd's not the tallest guy in the world, but he just catches everything. So that's at 54. Defensive tackle, there's not a whole lot of guys I'd like.
Mike Hall will be there. I think he's an option.
I think he's more of a third-round talent. If he's there in the third, I'd take him. But at 54, I don't love any of the defensive tackles. There's really only
Chris Jenkins.
I don't even love him. He had a very bad combine, very bad RAS score. If there's a guy, if somehow a Byron Murphy or Tavondre Sweat drop, that would be what I would be interested in, but I don't think they're going to. Braden Fisk was a guy I didn't have my eyes on, and even though he had an amazing combine and an amazing RAS score, I don't think the Browns will look at him just because I think he's 25 already.
Hmm.
And that's just a little bit over the guardrails. So I really don't like anybody at 54 for the Browns as far as
Who's the guy
defensive
from
tackle.
LSU, the D tackle?
Oh, are you talking about Mason Smith or?
Yes, I think he's the one. He has first round talent. There's some reason why he may drop a little bit. But he's the guy. I think if they can get him at 54, I like that a lot. I think the upside and shorts of ski. He's a first round. Some people think he might be actually the
Right.
best overall talent. It had the most upside in the entire draft, and there's some good ones. So he's the one I would look for there. I think at 54.
I like him. He's definitely got a lot of intangibles, but I think he could even, if you want him, he could be had in the 5th round more than likely.
I don't think he'll fall that far.
Maybe we could trade up into the 4th and grab him, but I've just seen him. Yeah, there we are. 7 fast Browns.
All right. So we're gonna do this mock draft. Everybody, Mike, is this good on the screen?
It's beautiful.
All right, because I can't see the StreamYard right now. Let me get.
Yeah, I'll just do this. If I.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna fast forward to the Browns at 54. We're just gonna do regular and see what pops up there at 54. Oh wait, what happened?
Oh, you didn't select the team.
Gosh darn it! You know,
it's all right.
I thought I clicked that. My bad, everybody. All right, round 2.
Round 2.
All right, here we go. Brock Bowers, number 1. Hell no.
That ain't gonna happen.
No, it's gonna be somebody.
Reject. We'll just stay here. All right.
We got Tavondre Sweat. We got Leonard Taylor.
Leonard Taylor's there.
You got Patrick Paul, the nice offensive tackle. Mike Hall, Chris Jenkins, Max Melton, the corner. Brandon Fisk.
Who's
probably? Well, sorry, go ahead.
Who's available at receiver right now, and who's available at tackle?
Yeah, so at receiver, we got Roman Wilson, Xavier Legette. Not great.
I like Xavier Legette. I like him more than Wilson. I think they'd take him at 54 if he's there. What about tackle?
I wouldn't take. Patrick Paul's interesting, but I can get Rosengarten down the road.
Yeah, I think they'd go Legette here. He's a 50-50 ball guy, and he's got huge upside, had a great combine, a fantastic Senior Bowl. I think he's a much better. Tackles. I don't like any of those guys, really. Like Tavondre Sweat. I would go Sweat over Taylor. I'm not high on Leonard Taylor at all.
Almost 19 tackles for loss. That's pretty. I don't know. I think you got to go one of these tackles. You know what I mean?
I'd go Tavondre Sweat if we're going defensive tackle.
All right, we'll go Tavondre Sweat. We'll go with him. I think you got to go tackle there. So now, Rosengarten's off the board.
Oh wow,
Deontay Walker.
Oh, he went right before. What running backs are available right now? I know you said Blake, but who else?
You just got Estime down there at 106.
I think the Browns. I know they like Bucky Irving and Audric Estime. They've met with both of them, so I'd take one or the other. They're both very similar.
Looking at the tackle position, Blake Fisher's pretty good. You're probably looking at. Yeah, you could probably get somebody down the road to tackle. Now you have to draft it later. So you'd probably go running back here.
Yeah. And just for.
I would probably go Estime.
Yeah. I'd go Estime. I like him a lot better than Bucky. But don't get me wrong. I think Bucky Irving is a great prospect as well. But.
All right. So now we're sitting here at, what pick is this? 155.
What tight ends we got working
Jared
right now?
Wiley, who's pretty good. I think you gotta look at receiver probably right here. Luke McCaffrey, who's not bad. The receiver's kind of thinning out now. I don't know. I kind of look at this now. I'm kind of like, gee, the receiver's all white. Maybe we should have took one earlier. I don't know.
I think here they'd probably take a tight end more than likely. We definitely need a tight end
Jared
too,
Wiley.
and I'd go him or Brevin Spanford. We could take
I'd go Wiley. Wiley's pretty good.
Then we're going Wiley.
All right, Jared Wiley.
I think we do take a tight end in the 5th.
So now, sitting here at 205.
We'll probably go guard. We're going to take a guard eventually. Who's the best guard available?
What I would do here, to be honest with you, if they're going to swing Luke Whippler over to guard, I would take Drake Nugent at 223. That's a great value.
I'd do it. Any center that can play guard or any guard that can play center, I'm happy with.
Drake Nugent's one of the best centers in the draft. That linebacker here, you got Omar Spates available now. I like him a lot.
We could go Omar Spates. I'm cool with that.
Omar, I like that. They're a linebacker.
LSU product.
And so that's it there. Only 5 picks.
We will have more. This is before whatever storm Andrew Berry's about to brew.
Yeah. So we'll do one more real quick, and we'll change up the philosophy this time. Because now that we did it once, we kind of have a feel for maybe how this might go. So staying there at 55. Reject. Michael, you take a look here. So we still have Patrick Paul here, Braylon Trice, who was not there last time. I think you still have Roger Rosengarten down here. You're right there. Receiver now, still the same.
I'd still go Leggett. I mean, I really think if he's there, the Browns will take him. That he's the best out of all the prospects. He's young. He can catch a 50-50 ball. Yeah. And he can be developed. I like Ricky Pearsall as well, but I just don't. He's just too old. He's the same age as Jerry Jeudy, and Jerry Judy's going into his 5th year in the NFL, and that's just not someone who the Browns draft. So,
I think this is probably. I think the one we had the first time around wasn't realistic. As what I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think we're going to build those tackles sitting there.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I'd be honest with you, I probably looking back, I probably would go Leggett. So we'll go Xavier Leggett. Because I think receiver, you need to get. I think they're going to get the D tackle.
Mm-hmm. And he played in the SEC, and he played well. So
yeah. So now here we are at 85 again. And
Jalen Mail is still there. Damn, I wish I wouldn't have gone receiver.
Let's see. Rosengarten's going early.
I'd say go running back again. I think if our boy Estime's there, they're going to take him.
Yeah, I agree. I think, oh man, Mike Sanders still sitting there too, the corner. That's tough. I like him a lot.
I mean, they might take a corner, but they also might not. They'll probably just sign.
Do you think they're trading Greg Newsome?
I think it's a strong possibility, but I think the only reason they feel comfortable trading him is because they're confident that Cam Mitchell can do that job. And if that's the case, then they'll probably grab Mike Ford Jr. back, or AJ Green, or somebody else for special team depth.
I got a late round. Oh, actually, and sitting there too, Mike. Also, is this guy right here?
Yeah, they got him rated at 107. He might fall to the 5th at that rate, though.
One of those two, probably.
I'd say Audric. They got a plan for the future. Because, you
just don't know. This could be where they move up, though, right here in the 4th. Maybe and get if Smith's sitting there. I'd probably move up to try to get him. So here we are. What are we at? 155. So Zach Zinner's a good option at guard.
Javon Baker's Wiley there.
But we just took another receiver. I don't think we'd.
I know we
now.
did, but if we take 2, that is a really good value. He's a sleeper.
Kenny Logan Jr. is a nice safety. I like him a lot. Curtis Jacobs, a good linebacker. Tommy Eichenberg, Proctor.
I don't mind Eichenberg.
Eichenberg's not bad. You got Jared Wiley sitting there again too, the tight end.
Wait, is Eichenberg? He declared he's not coming back?
Nah, yeah, they want to play CJ Hicks, so he left.
Oh, okay.
The plan was they thought he was coming back, but
I mean, I think I'd like him for depth. I mean, he's a smart dude. Mike linebacker. Maybe he can like develop a little bit. I don't hate that.
I like the hometown kid there. Saw him play at St. Ignatius, great player.
And honestly, if we want to grab a tight end, Brevin Spanford would probably be there in the next round. And I really, really liked his Senior Bowl tape. Cat out of Minnesota.
Eichenberg.
So, like, let's do.
Yeah, Eichenberg. Yeah, I agree. I think they need more depth at linebacker. I agree. So, I like that pick a lot.
Yeah, because outside of Talk and JOK, it's
right.
It's pretty thin. You got Fields and UDFA out of Minnesota. I'm sorry, Utah.
Mahamud 205.
Is Brevin Spanford available?
Let me see. No, he's not.
No, but Dalen Hooker is. I don't hate him.
What
about guards?
Well, I mean, Nugent's still there. I like him at center. Because I think their best bet is probably switching. I think Whippler's more of a guard, to be honest with you. I think if they still want that, you still got to have a backup center. I think Nugent to me, and I think when Poachage is done with that contract, so you can just move Nugent right in the starting center down the road.
Then let's grab Mr. Nugent.
Yep, 6-0 Academy. And then 243 now with our last pick. What do you think of backup quarterback, Mike?
They probably
Sam
won't
Hartman. I think Sam Hartman can be a nice career.
Oh, that is absolutely. Sam Hartman is going to be a Steeler. I absolutely know he's going to go to Pittsburgh.
But if you're the Browns, though, for backup quarterback, I don't think Sam Hartman's a bad option.
I don't think he is either.
I think Sam Hartman, because he gives you. I think Sam Hartman actually has a chance to be might have the longest career of all these quarterbacks. I'm not saying he'll be a starter, but I think he'll have a longevity career. I think he's that kind of guy.
I just don't think they'll pick a quarterback with that pick. If anything, I think they trade this one away for next year. But let's just go.
If I'm them, I'm taking Hartman because I don't think DTR is your long-term backup. I think he's just nice kid, nice arm. I just think he's a little too small. But
it's just Sam Hartman's play style is just not. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I just think he'll be a good backup quarterback. But if not him, I actually like this kid here out of Marshall, the cornerback Micah Abraham.
Oh yeah, well absolutely take that then. Corner.
Yeah. He's been my last round pick in a lot of these. So I like him a lot. I like dudes from the herd. But so this one here, Xavier Legette, wide receiver, Audric Estime, running back, Tommy Eichenberg, linebacker, Drake Nugent, offensive center. Us centers got to stick together. And Micah Abraham, cornerback from Marshall.
And we will probably have more picks than this, more than likely.
Yeah. So that's our mock draft for you guys on the fly tonight, because that's a big big question now what to do at 54 because of this move today. So but based on that, there 2 times in a row, I think we both Xavier Legette probably looks like the pick possibly there.
Yeah, if he's there, it would be silly of them not to pick him. I think he could turn into something great, and with the added bonus of him not needing to start year one, I think that just helps a lot.
Well, and I think too, if you get an extra 3rd round pick from the Greg Newsome trade, if you trade him, now you're sitting there in the 3rd round. Brendan Rice could be available, who I like. Who's not? That's a good value pick there. I mean, I think, like you said, they'll have more picks. So I think when we come back and do this, probably in about a month, we'll probably have another pick in there or 2.
Yeah. I really think we are all going to be shocked with what we get for Greg Newsome, because it's not going to just be a third. I really don't think. I think it's going to be more than that.
Yeah.
Just again, there's so many corner needy teams, and he would be the one on a lot of teams. So we shall see.
Well, Mike, it's been a heck of a day for Browns Nation, for the Browns Dog Pound. You want to tell them why they need to like, subscribe, and share?
You got to like, subscribe, or share, and all of that, because it helps us out, helps Joseph out. And let us know what you think. Let us know in the comments if you like the Jerry Jeudy trade, if what you think we'll do in the draft. We'd love to hear what you have to say. And it helps. It helps the algorithm, helps push the show along and forward. And we always appreciate it.
We always appreciate you guys. Love all you guys. Like, subscribe, share, all the good stuff. And I'm going to salute out of here, Mike. We'll see you guys in the next one.
See you in the next one.
Right
Peace.
here. Gone.